Computer, what are you tracking?
Disney Parks Podcast. Warning. Meteor shower in range.
Just a little one.
Resort loop. Zippity-doo pod. The dis unload.
Time to get serious. Locking autopilot on homing signal. Now! I'm tracking a big show on the scope. Could be ours. Computer, full stop. Identify.
Unofficial Universal Podcast.
Definitely not our show. Go, go, go! Another big guy coming up. Computer, slow, and identify.
Disney Magic Hour.
Still not our show, but at least this one's the right brand.
Asteroid impact in 60 seconds.
We can't stop now. Keep going, keep going.
Warning. Meteor impact.
Abort mission. Abort, abort.
Nocturnal Disney.
Forget it. Get them out now.
And into the Nocturnal Disney Podcast. Welcome, everyone, to episode number 42 of the Nocturnal Disney Podcast. My name is Brice. I'm here with my buddy Chris. Say hi, man.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's good to be back.
It's about time, dude. I have been missing you, man.
I know.
You've been gone an entire month.
The show's gone down.
Ouch.
Just not good. Just not good. And I was wondering why, so I figured I'd come in here and help you out.
I'm one guy. I can only do so much. Leave me alone. Well, tonight, Disney has said, you know what? We have taken a bath on this Little Mermaid live business. We're not going to put out any new news. And I kind of understand that. So what we're going to do is we're going to catch up with Chris. Because Chris has been gone for over a month. He's missed quite a bit of stuff.
And I have a lot to say.
I'm sure you do. It's mainly entertainment news. So we're going to jump into that. We're going to be talking about the Jungle Cruise trailer again. We're going to be talking about the last Star Wars trailer. We're going to be talking about the Lady and the Tramp trailer. We're going to talk about a number of different things. But for now, let's just jump into it.
Let's go.
All right, so Chris, we are here tonight to catch up with you, buddy. How have you been?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah? Nice.
In all seriousness, I really wanted to be here, but, work gets in the way sometimes.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you have a hobby. Sometimes it has to take a back seat.
A little bit, but I did. There was just so much stuff that Disney's released over the past month and a half that, I just been itching to get in here and yell about some things.
Is there anything in particular that you want to talk about?
Well, I don't know how we're not supposed to get into this about the Star Wars trailer and talk about the Star Wars trailer at all.
Okay, let's start with that. So, I don't know if you listened to episode 41 of the Nocturnal Disney Podcast where I was in here with Jamie.
Right.
But I watched it. I saw it. It did really nothing for me in terms of, emotionally, oh my God, I have to watch this movie. I thought it was okay. I thought it was fine. But we're not here to talk about what I thought about the trailer. Chris, what did you think about the trailer, man?
I thought it was okay.
Right.
The score, after watching it many times, I realize it's the score that gets me more pumped than really what I'm seeing. What I'm seeing, we don't know really what we're seeing.
That's fair.
If there is excitement, it's oh, okay, Star Wars is back. It's the final. That's it. This is it. With Disney owning this, I don't know if exactly this is it, but this is going to be it for a while,
I think this is going to end the Skywalker story,
Maybe. We'll see. But what I think it is that the plot threads from the second movie to this movie it's still what's, I think, to be fair, I think everybody has a question,
Sure.
How does the Emperor fit in there? Is this going to be Kylo Ren and Rey teaming up again, and the First Order and the Resistance kind of hanging out and fighting this Empire? There's a lot of questions, but as far as a trailer goes, it did get me excited for the movie. It made me aware that, hey, it's coming out in 1 month. It's coming to an end. as far as worrying about all the story plots and everything like that, that's not what the trailers are really supposed to do. They're just supposed to say, hey, we're coming. Hopefully you're excited. And I'm at the very least excited that Star Wars is back,
I don't know, man. Like, I agree with you. It's supposed to say, hey, the movie's coming, but it's also supposed to give you at least something. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, all you need is, hey, Star Wars is coming. All right, cool. Thanks. That's it. Because if you're not giving me any of the plot, aside from, hey, it's another Star Wars movie,
and the Emperor's there.
Right, but I don't have a whole lot to get excited about.
But that's where But that's what I'm saying. I'm more excited for the fact that they're just saying, "Hey, there's a Star Wars movie coming up," as opposed to what the trailer has said. To be honest, I'm happy that there's no story because it makes it kind of just like okay, hopefully we go in and it works. You know what I'm saying? Because honestly, number 2 left off at such a weird place. And Rian Johnson leaving and J.J. Abrams coming back, we don't know what we're getting. So really, can they give you a story? Because there really was not much to give. You know what I'm saying? The Emperor being in there, while cool, it's like I didn't see that planning through 1 and 2,
That's true. And I don't know, man, I hope you're wrong, because if there's no, obviously there's going to be a story, but if there's no real substance to that story,
I just would like a nice thread, between 2 and 3. And,
maybe that thread is Rey and we just haven't pieced it all together yet because we don't have the whole story.
Right. And you know what? Like, honestly, I'm perfectly fine. Like I said, the music in this trailer, there was a difference to the way they played the Star Wars themed. It sounded much more epic. Like, if you can make Star Wars more epic, they did it. John Williams killed it. And kudos to that man for just being the best that there ever was at score making.
Oh yeah. He killed it. I don't think there is one score of his that I am aware of that I'm like, nope, I do not like that score.
Right. You may not be aware that it was probably John Williams, but maybe you can hear it and still be like, well, that was good. Because,
Sure.
He does not put out garbage. I will say I listened to your show and last week, and you were talking about C-3PO's moment, and I agree. It hits you a little bit in the feels.
It's heart-wrenching.
It is. And I think...
Like, how did that hit you? Because, like, someone who is really invested into the Star Wars lore and the Star Wars canon, just the story of Star Wars, like, it hit me, and I'm not that big of a fan.
Right.
Like, I like it, but
Yeah.
I'm not like, oh, my God, I got to beat down the walls to get to the new toys or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Where you are that fanatical type fan. You know what I'm saying?
Not too fanatical, but...
That's not what your nipple tattoo says.
Listen, C-3PO as a character has been so annoying, and a lot of people, even who love the original stuff, like, have all said 3PO is a pain in the butt. But
Sure.
His line delivery, for me, it was a little extra meaning. Like, it really meant, that's what I mean about this trailer, in that it got me excited because it's saying Star Wars is ending. So it did a really good job at the very least showing, hey, this is it. You know what I'm saying? And,
yeah.
And that's what I liked about it. Space horses on top of Star Destroyers, sure. Like, I'll take it. It looked cool.
See, the last time I got really excited about an animal imagery like that was the zombie sharks in Pirates 5, and it let me down.
Yeah.
So, like, I want it to be cool.
Listen, there's always something epic in movies when you can capture a beautiful cavalry charge, and I'm just a sucker for it. So the fact that you go, here, Chris, you know what? Not only are you going to get a cavalry charge in Star Wars, but it's going to be like on a Star Destroyer in space while a battle's going on. It's like, okay, I'll take it 100%.
You had me at hello.
Yep. So all in all, the trailer got me excited for the fact that Star Wars is coming and that it's ending. The trailer itself, once again, it's, as far as story, as far as like the movie itself, I'm still questionable about, But the trailer did make me aware it's coming out next month, and to me, that's all it needed to do,
Sure, fair enough.
Hey, also, real quick, who do you think that person is that Rey is looking at? Who's in the hooded figure in the trailer?
All right, everyone thinks it's Palpatine.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm going to go with a reincarnated Snoke.
Okay.
Just because I feel like this whole thing, this whole last movie, I feel is going to be about clones.
Right.
And I think that's just going to be another one that comes back to kind of haunt them.
You think so?
I don't know.
That is such a crazy. Like that was awesome.
I'm just kind of throwing it against.
Like aside from Jar Jar Binks, like that was a good one. I mean, everyone is. I know a lot of people are saying it's Rey too. Like that's a pretty good speculation, right?
Yeah.
Because we do see Rey kind of turn. They do that trailer in that one shot in the second trailer with the Swiss blade lightsaber, right? Where
everybody makes fun of that lightsaber.
Yeah.
That's a cool lightsaber.
It's a cool lightsaber.
It is really
looks like
cool.
a Swiss blade. Like, I mean, what am I supposed to say? But yeah, a lot of people are thinking like, hey, this is the clone of Rey sitting there. You know, I mean, dude,
right.
that would be just as terrifying as seeing the Emperor. You know, being especially that you've never seen the Emperor, so that would take you aback a little bit.
Yeah. Oh my God. What if she is looking at the dark Rey, right? And then as she gets closer, it kind of melts away, and it's the Emperor underneath. He's using the Force as a Jedi mind trick to make her think she's looking at herself.
Oh, my God.
Look, you say, oh, my God, but that is plausible. It could happen.
All right. Okay, so really quick. Do you think, and we're going to hold this on record when the movie comes out, does Kylo Ren and Rey end up teaming up, and if they do, does Kylo get redeemed in this movie?
I think that they will have Kylo Ren redeemed. I don't want to see that. I think he is irredeemable from what we have seen on screen. And, you know, God only knows what he's done before we see him on screen, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not like, hey, this is my first day as Kylo Ren. What's going on, everybody? No, he is going out there, and he is already a general. He is already going out there for blood, which tells me, hey, I've killed other people before.
Well, you know, we did see him in that one scene where Starkiller Base launches 1 million beams at like 5 worlds.
Right, exactly.
So, you know.
See, I don't think he's redeemable.
Okay.
I don't think he's redeemable. But I just always think about that quote that George Lucas had, which was, oh, hey, you know, I like to have symmetry and have it be poetic, my stories. And I feel like they are trying to do that, kind of, with the new
Does
characters.
Maybe his death, like Darth Vader,
Redeem him?
that redeem you?
I don't think Darth Vader's death redeemed Darth Vader.
So you don't believe like one good act can go ahead and redeem a person?
Not like that.
No?
No. Okay. No. It's like a criminal going to jail. He's on death row. The day before he goes to die, he's like, hey, I found Jesus, y'all. Fantastic. Now you're going to go meet him. Like...
No, it's not, because he didn't do something like if there was a serial killer on death row,
right?
And let's say like there was a bomb that was about to go off in the room, and his last redeeming quality was grabbing the bomb, clutching it to his chest, and saving everybody in the room. That's the difference. It's not somebody saying, "I'm about to see Jesus, y'all," and then he dies. He does something redeemable on a high level that can save. You know, because we're talking in terms of worlds, right? Like billions upon billions of lives. But in terms of Star Wars,
taken
we talk
billions
about
and billions
galaxies.
and billions of lives.
Right, but like, let's say he kills the Emperor, who will probably enslave like the galaxy.
Okay,
is a couple of worlds and you taking out the Emperor last second and you putting your life on the line redeem you? I like in a way, I think it does.
See, I don't, because you have all of this other stuff. Yes, you did do that one good deed. Fantastic. But what are you going to be remembered for? You're going to be remembered for the genocide.
The thing. But we look at Darth Vader. What is he remembered for in all these movies? And that's what's cool about the Star Wars movies. It doesn't gloss it over and go, well, Anakin was a hero. It doesn't. Like they're very honest about the fact that this guy was a douchebag.
Sure, but I feel like you're missing the point of which I don't think it redeemed him.
I think it does. All right.
We're going to have to agree to disagree because,
yes.
man, I'm a big Boba Fett fan. Okay?
Okay.
It's going to make sense here in a second.
Okay.
I was unhappy when Boba Fett died.
Okay.
I was not as
like many people, but okay.
Sure. His death did not make me as unhappy as Darth Vader being redeemed at the end of that movie did. That made me so mad.
Well, it's a good thing you're not God. Let's put it that way.
Yes, it is. It's a very good thing. I'd be a terrible God.
It's death.
Dead. All right.
Okay, moving on.
Moving on. Chris, we got the runtime for Star Wars, right? Rise of Skywalker, and it's 155 minutes.
Right.
That's a very long movie.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that? Like, are you happy that the movie's that long? Do you care? Do you think it's, hey, that tells me that there's actually a lot of story here that they're trying to cover?
I mean, how many times have we seen movies that are like 4 hours long and they're terrible? But like, so
Sure.
like adding time to a movie, obviously, as you brought out, like it doesn't mean like it's going to be good.
Sure.
But I like the fact that they're giving the time, they're giving you the opportunity. They're giving J.J. Abrams the opportunity as a director, and they're giving us the opportunity as an audience to say goodbye. 2.5 hours should be enough. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And see, that's kind of how I felt about it. Like, I feel like it's giving the movie a chance to breathe.
Right.
You're not just cram.
And what's the one thing we keep talking about is these threads that, like, they got to do a lot of connection and a lot of story filling for it to make sense. You know what I'm saying? For this movie to really make this trilogy stand on like two legs. Because I feel The Force Awakens has a leg to stand on.
So do I.
Failed with number 2, in my opinion, a little bit. It would be nice for there to be a kind of nice little sandwich. You know what I'm saying? Really taking this trilogy and being like, okay, all right, I may not like the second one, but like I can appreciate the trilogy
As
going out. Yeah, and going out on a high note. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So 2:30, it's not bad. If Avengers can be almost 3 hours long,
Exactly.
and a good portion of that movie be a lot of talking and a lot of plot point. And in my opinion, I know a lot of people complain about it, like, oh, there was really no action. Yes and no, but like you kind of needed.
I'm sorry, Endgame?
Yeah, like the first half being very heavy on just like
the
talking.
exposition.
Right,
Yeah, sure,
right.
but you
needed that.
that.
Exactly. And that's my point. Like if you're going to give me that Star Wars, if you can sell me the first half and they kind of pull it off like Avengers, I'm happy, So,
yeah, exactly.
Which I kind of feel like they're going to do. So we'll see. But the 2:30, it doesn't bother me. It makes me feel good. At the very least, they're giving an opportunity for the story to be fleshed out,
Oh, sure, absolutely. That's really all that we have to talk about for that.
It's true. I mean, that's really it. It's just a time.
Exactly. But really what I wanted to talk to you about, and I didn't bring this up with Jamie because I don't have a whole heck of a lot to say about it. I am surprised that it does keep happening. But J.J. Abrams has been the only director to go from, hey, we've hired a director,
Right.
to the end of the movie without having some kind of drama, without, the first director, Director A, getting, fired for Director B or whatever.
So you're telling me Kathleen Kennedy got somebody to stay through on a full vision of Star Wars.
Right.
Full movie, wow.
Which is crazy. Okay, so we had confirmation from Bob Iger that in 2024, after this, after The Rise of Skywalker was going to come out, it was going to be the last one for 3 years, right?
Right.
4 years, because I can count. 4 years. 2024 was going to be the first of a trilogy. And he said, guys, I have great news. It's the Benioff and Weiss trilogy. Benioff and Weiss were the showrunners for Game of Thrones. maybe the single most acclaimed television show ever.
Yeah, arguably, for sure.
People loved it.
Right.
They got brought on. Kathleen Kennedy said, I want you to make these movies. Bob Iger announced it. And then they got fired.
Yeah, and then but before this all came about, we knew that they signed that, crazy $100 million deal, hundreds of millions of dollar deal with Netflix.
Right.
Before this happened. So then it begged the question of like, how are they going to have time for this? How do you plan a trilogy as a bigger property as Star Wars and still give your 100% to either, to Netflix or to Star Wars, So as far as surprise, I don't think I'm surprised. A lot of people have been speculating whether or not it's going to happen or not. And
well, what I'm surprised about is that they signed the contract with Lucasfilms, and then they signed the contract with Netflix, and then Kathleen Kennedy let them out of their contract with Lucasfilms.
What I don't understand, though, is and maybe this is the case, but I really don't think it is, but it's like, if you're Kathleen Kennedy, then you got, like, when you're sitting down in these meetings, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars with, like, billions of people who are all tied into these movies.
Yeah.
And you're
possible billions of dollars
Yeah.
of revenue coming into the studio.
And you've been on hot ground the last couple of years, not success-wise, but more just not critic-wise, but fan-wise. You've had the Star Wars audience kind of split on the last movie. This hasn't happened before, or this has happened before with directors coming and going. You would think you would have had the contract maybe spell out, hey, you guys do not sign on to a Netflix show. You guys do not do any of this. You give 110% this,
Over or under 90%, that is included in contracts moving forward.
It better be now. I mean, Brice, I thought it would have been after the Solo situation.
Right, exactly.
Like, I thought that is what would have made it happen. But, like, a lot of the things she's produced with the Star Wars movies, there's been so much drama with directors coming and going and coming and going that at a certain point, you can say, okay, maybe that was a one-off thing. That director might have screwed her over. But at a certain point, your track record should say, you got to learn from something,
Exactly. And I thought Force Awakens was a really good movie.
Mm.
I thought Rogue One was amazing. I thought Solo was fun. I enjoyed The Last Jedi. How much better would these movies have been if they didn't have all of that director drama in the background messing up the production? Because if you don't have a solid director, which essentially translates to a solid vision moving forward.
Right. But that also means that brings me to my complaint about number 2, Star Wars Episode 2. It's okay. So with Star Wars The Last Jedi, we see one director telling their story in The Force Awakens and another director clearly just doing their own thing in a second movie. So
they need a Kevin Feige.
Yeah, they do. And they need it badly. You gotta, with these universe, Marvel has been able to do it so well. Say what you will of the movies themselves, where I have my issues with them, and I have my issues with the way they always come out, but you cannot argue their success. And their success is that they have a plan. That is crucial to anything, any huge franchise that's out there. To whether it's food franchise, anything, you have a plan. And you're organized and you have backup plan to your backup plan.
Right.
And if you're dealing with Disney, who is, every year, all me and you keep talking about is, hey, how many billions are they going to make this year? And how many billions are they going to make this year? And as it keeps going, you would think Disney would secure themselves a little bit more, or Kathleen Kennedy at least would.
Yeah. You do think that, hey, you have to be getting better at this. Because she's been doing it for, 5 years now?
Yeah.
5, maybe 6 years now?
Yeah.
She needs to be getting more consistent,
Right.
And great, that's fantastic that she has had really good success with the Star Wars franchise. But it's kind of in spite of her,
Right.
not because of her. I feel like,
It's
Like-
very rare that you get trilogies that are done by multiple different directors. George Lucas didn't film all the Star Wars movies, but he at the very least oversaw,
right.
and he was there. Arguably, basically still the director.
You need to have that consistency.
Right. And when you go from like, oh, I'm going to do it, like if we had a Rian Johnson as The Force Awakens, I'm sure it would have made sense.
Sure.
And we would have less complaint. Things would be less jarring and less crazy.
Because Rian Johnson is a really good storyteller.
Right. And that's the thing. I love Rian Johnson as a director. He is great. But when you throw, and you can't really mistake him. He was trying to be a little edgy, whatever. But that's what happens when you're overseeing something. It's not the director's fault. He put out a good movie, a movie that critically wise worked. It made billions. But the problem is that it kind of went away from what even The Force Awakens was trying to tell. And that falls on the producer, who is overseeing these directors.
What do you think is going to happen with Kathleen Kennedy moving forward? Do you think she is going to retain her job?
I think she will.
Yeah.
I hope because there is one thing, she's produced like tons of movies, and she's famous for a lot of these movies she's produced.
Oh yeah.
And she's one of the best out there. But the problem is like you need a Feige for this. And I know everybody says that, and obviously that is much harder said than done. Everybody goes, you need a Feige, and it's like, well, there's only one.
Do you think it might be Feige?
No.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be Feige. I think he's going to move on to other stuff, but not this. I don't think he's going to move on to Star Wars. There's been rumors of him replacing
Alan Horn.
Alan Horn, yeah.
Yeah.
And why not? You've
Sure.
already conquered the production. Like, this is a step above. You're running Disney. So, like, if you're asking me which direction, what direction would you take? Would you be like, oh, I would rather produce Star Wars, this franchise at the moment that's like, it's hot, but it's not at its hottest, Or would you rather be like, I'm going to be president of Disney, and that's huge, man. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's the point. Like, that's kind of the point I was going to make is no, Star Wars is not at its hottest. But if you bring it back and you're like, hey, I'm making these awesome movies, and you go from really mediocre and
I hear your
problems.
I hear what you're saying. But now what if Feige runs Disney, but he can hire somebody to run Star Wars? I can be on board with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Feige's going to hire somebody for Star Wars, wouldn't you be like, okay, I'm willing to trust whoever the heck he's going to... He obviously sees something.
Sure.
He's been successful. So that's kind of like where I'm going with this.
Makes
sense.
What
I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So.
All right. Fair enough.
Kathleen Kennedy, we love you, but step down.
Changing gears here real quick. Do you have any... thoughts on where you think The Rise of Skywalker is going to go? Like, where the movie is going to end up now that we have all of the trailers, we have some TV spots. Do you have an idea? Do you have an idea of where you want it to go?
No, not really. Kind of because we're all kind of like left in the dark. That's what's so strange about this Star Wars movie. With all the Star Wars movies coming out, like, with Luke had his hand chopped off and Han Solo was frozen, you kind of had that crazy cliffhanger. Like, you had the left of, like, I'm Luke, I'm your father from Darth Vader. Like, you had a bunch of bombs.
Mm-hmm.
And this last movie, it kind of, we got no inclination really to what's coming.
Right.
As a Star Wars fan from before, you could have been like, okay, they might touch on Luke's dad, his missing arm, Solo being frozen or killed, because when I was a kid, I was like, he was killed. Like, I didn't get the whole concept being frozen. But with this movie, we're kind of just going in there going like, okay, we're going to be at this moment of time, and they're going to be where they're at, and somehow the Emperor plays into this,
What about the name? What about the title of the movie? Do you have any kind of thoughts on that? Like,
not really.
Any guesses on that? No,
it sounds cool. Like, I mean, I get, like, it's a way to make people go, huh?
Sure.
You know, like, but that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. See, I was
how
reading
that
online.
would play, I'd have no clue.
Right? See, I was reading online and I saw one guy was talking about, like, look, we have all of this talk about cloning and whatnot. What if the rise of Skywalker is them actually being able to bring Luke Skywalker back from the dead? And it's actually the rise of Skywalker.
Literally the rise of Skywalker.
Which,
Luke Skywalker rose on the third day. Oh, man.
which I think would be ridiculous. I really hope that's not the way they go.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think. That's not one of the popular theories I have heard. Listen, all
was entertaining.
All I got to say is if you're going to give me something that's wild and outlandish, then just, you got to execute it right. You know?
Sure.
We're in no place really to be like, I don't want this or I don't want that at the moment, because we're just kind of like, okay, the Emperor's in there, Snoke's dead, and Rey is really good at what she does, and Kylo is now the leader of the First Order. You know, like, that's where we're at.
Right.
What happens? I don't know. You know, like,
It's a good question.
you know? So, I mean, once again, I think it's a give and take. Both of those, it's kind of has me worried about this last movie, but it also has me kind of excited. It's like, okay, I really don't know what's going to happen, you know?
Sure, absolutely.
So and the cool thing is that I hear a lot of theories, and a lot of theories, aside from the Jar Jar Binks theories, they're all fairly entertaining.
Right?
I know you would love the Jar Jar Binks ending.
Look, I love the
You
thought
would
of him
just
being a
love
Sith.
that happening.
I really do like it. I like the idea of him being a Sith.
kill you. Oh man.
It's just, he's
I
an
could just
animated
see some
character.
the dude who wrote that YouTube video about like trying to tie Jar Jar Binks to the dark side is like, I knew it.
Exactly.
Been preaching about this forever.
Dude, I mean, he's an animated character. All of his movements and mannerisms
All right,
are
we're gonna lose
purposeful.
all credibility as a podcast right now.
Like, I enjoy conspiracy theories. So
Not that the story's gonna be good. Brice is just concerned with just the craziest, outlandish crap out there.
yeah, dude, it makes me laugh. All right, moving on from Star Wars. Chris, while you were away, buddy, we had The Rock drop a massive people's elbow on Emily Blunt
See what you did there.
thank you, in the Jungle Cruise trailer. I'm going to weigh in on this a little bit more because I wasn't really happy with what I talked about the last time, but I'm going to digress over to you first. Chris, what did you think of this trailer?
I liked what I saw. It like, from when it was announced till right now, it's completely different than, you know, like how I had it envisioned in my head.
What did you think it was going to be in your head?
I had no freaking clue. I mean, like, it could have been like Pirates of the Caribbean, where it's just like, hey, this is named after a ride.
See, that's what it kind of feels like. It has a similar tone. Like
Right.
when Emily Blunt is in the library and she's like, oh, I just wanted to say that this was miscategorized.
Right.
Like, that felt like Pirates to me.
Right. And I feel like with the Pirates franchise still kind of up in the air, we know they'll get back to it, but still, like, up in the air, we don't know what's going on. Why not take another ride? Also, The Rock is doing what The Rock does, which is killing it. Emily Blunt, gorgeous, but, like, I love her as an actress too. She's awesome. And I love what they do, is what you were talking about earlier. He's a con man.
Yes.
And I love that they kind of throw that into the movie.
I really like that whole concept. I don't know how, but I missed it, or I didn't want to talk about it. I don't know what happened the first time I saw this trailer and we came in here, me and Jamie did. But oh my God, that is so exciting to me. That makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Because The Rock being a con man in the Jungle Cruise, when the Jungle Cruise movie is based off the Jungle Cruise ride, because that means the skippers on the Jungle Cruise in Disneyland and Disney World are con people, and that makes me so happy.
I was talking to you about this before when we were watching the trailer together, and I said, how cool would it be is after the movie comes out, they kind of play that into the movie a little bit more. Like take from the movie,
Play it into the ride.
and put it in the ride a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I've told you before, it's not my favorite ride, but if you can spice it up a little bit more with that, I just may like it a lot more. You know what I'm saying? All right, so let's just get to what you want to talk about, Brice. How this can be part of a bigger, expanded universe.
I just don't see how it can't be.
I mean, it's kind of dangling in your face.
It really is. Okay, so upon further viewings of the trailer, I am less inclined to believe that The Rock is Albert Falls himself, right?
Okay.
I don't think he's Albert Falls. But he may very well be a descendant of Albert Falls. And then you start having this whole adventure, and it ties into Disney Sea, which I know I said we were going to talk about tonight, and it got to be a very big thing, and it kind of evolved into something that I was not expecting. And I ran out of time, so I'm sorry.
As Brice normally does.
But when I'm done with it, I really do think you're going to enjoy it, so just bear with me. Not only that, but the movie doesn't come out until 2020, so I got a little bit of time.
Yeah, so you got a little breathing room.
If they do this and they bring in the Pillagers Brigade and they bring in the other adventurers and oh my God. I'm exploding with excitement right now.
I just want you to calm down because very well, as exciting and tempting as that may be, they very well just might be like a Pirates of the Caribbean ride.
Sure.
And just be like, you're going to get your Jungle Cruise too,
They might.
the Nile River, like you never know. I'm just saying.
But I don't think that.
But if you're asking me, like, do I want this? Absolutely. Because as you touched on last week, there is so much awesome lore. I wouldn't say story because it's so hard to really tell the story, but the story is there for the mining. You know what I'm saying? It's right there for the picking. Because there's really no huge story to it, but the lore is amazing. And there's nothing like a good lore. And if you can somehow tell a nice story to interweave these movies together to Disney Sea, that would be amazing.
Especially since Disney Sea, it is like a shadow organization within the Disney canon.
Yeah. And let's just tell everybody this too. You can catch these videos on YouTube that explain Disney Sea. Now, we're going to talk about it obviously and go in depth on it. But just so that you guys can be like, okay, this is your first time hearing it, or I heard Brice last week, but I'm not understanding. Type in Disney Sea, and we're not talking about the theme park that's over in where is it at?
It's in Tokyo.
In Tokyo. We're not talking about that. This is a really cool story, and you're going to find lots of videos on it. It's packed with a lot of information, but it's really cool. If you're somebody that kind of likes lores and stories and just secret societies, this is really cool.
It really is. And it's called, like Chris said, it's called Disney Sea, which is SEA as an acronym. And it stands for Society of Explorers and Adventurers. Yeah. That's really it. But
that is really just about it, other than the many theme parks that you touched on last week around the world that tie these stories, these people who are part of the society together.
Right, and when we say, there's a lore behind it, it goes all the way back to 1989 and Pleasure Island here in Orlando. So there is a lot of story there to mine from. And what's cool is Pleasure Island is just the first aspect of it that was kind of brought into the real world. But Disney Sea goes back to 1937. It's fantastic. Guys, I promise you, we will talk about this and fill it all in.
And what's cool is it's Disney's way of telling a really cool story without it being popular, really. Only hardcore Disney fans that are caught on YouTube late at night get that. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Otherwise, you see a picture on the wall and you're like, well, there's a picture.
Right.
But getting back to the Jungle Cruise trailer, that is what we're kind of hoping they evolve this movie too, right? Is that what you're saying? You can make potentially what we're saying is you can make a franchise out of this, and a really good one at that. If you can keep it halfway decent,
Exactly.
Listen, anything could beat those Pirates movies, you know?
Not only that, but I mean, you already have, just like the Pirates movies, you started with very good talent. Johnny Depp, I know his name is Mud now, but he's a really good actor. Orlando Bloom, he's a really good actor.
Yeah.
I was going to say Elizabeth Swann, but that's her name in the movie.
Yeah.
Keira Knightley.
Keira Knightley.
She's a fantastic actress.
Mhm.
You're starting with The Rock and Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
They're both great.
And the cool thing is Disney has two options with this. I mean, of course, it could be an ultimate failure, but
Sure.
you have two good options. If it's a good movie and they can just make the Jungle Cruise 2, I'd be on board. But like the direction with C, I really like that idea a bit more. So,
Especially how crazy the second half of the trailer gets. The
Right.
first half of the trailer is introducing you to Emily Blunt and introducing you to The Rock, and it's introducing you to The Rock's business, which is essentially the Jungle Cruise ride. Then Emily Blunt bumps into The Rock, and they start having these conversations about this adventure that they're going to go on, and then the next thing you know, they're fighting snake pirates in the den of a bog. Like, it looks crazy. It looks crazy, and I'm really excited for the movie.
Well, here's hoping that it works. It works out. Listen, if we just get a good Jungle Cruise movie, I'm happy. But like, if that lore does come out, I'd be extra happy. You know?
And you know what it is? It's this movie, when it was announced, I was like, it's going to be like Haunted Mansion. You know, it's going to be a nothing movie. There's nothing there.
Mhm.
But then once you start digging and you start really looking into it, you're like, oh my God, there's so much story here that we can talk about. This could be really, really interesting.
Yeah.
So that's what my thoughts on that movie are. I can't wait. Chris, let's move on now, buddy, to Disney Plus. As of you guys hearing this, we are but 3 measly days away from the glory that will be Disney Plus and The Mandalorian. But we're not going to talk about The Mandalorian. We're going to talk about the Little Mermaid. We're going to talk about The Lady and the Tramp.
Okay, there you go.
Yes. So, Chris, what are your thoughts on the last trailer for The Lady and the Tramp?
It's an okay trailer. Like, it's not bad.
Sure.
The puppies and the doggies are all on point. They're doing their job. They're looking adorable. Other than that, I'm not thrilled about Lady's CGI mouth and face at certain points.
It's off-putting, isn't it?
A little
bit. Very
bit. Because
weird.
the Tramps, at least in the trailers, is really strong, in my opinion. He doesn't really give me too much of a problem as Lady does.
Now, see, and I mentioned this to you earlier. I think what that might be is that the Tramp has so much fur on his muzzle
Yeah, you were saying that.
that it might cover up a lot of the mouth, and it might end up covering up a lot of sins. Where Lady
Hair covers a multitude of sins, Bryce.
Exactly. Where Lady, man, she's just out there.
Right.
She's out there for the world.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm with you. Like, it was really awkward watching her talk.
I'm trying not to get too invested in these trailers. I'm trying not to get like super hyped up because I'm kind of hoping this movie is just one of those I sit down because I know Raylan's going to make me watch this.
Sure.
And I will. And I'm just hoping that it's just, if you can give me halfway decent, I'll be happy. You know?
Make it watchable.
Yeah, like just, you got dogs in it. Like 50% of the movie's done for you as far as I'm concerned. Like, I love dog movies. Dogs
Do you really?
I do. I mean, as a kid, I can't tell you how much I went through the Homeward Bound 1 and 2 movies. I saw number 3, but I didn't watch it as much as 1 and 2.
Right.
But I watched those movies like on repeat, man. And I loved, that's the thing. I love a good animal movie, you know?
Like a dog's purpose? Like that movie?
I didn't see A Dog's Purpose, but I watched Marley and Me, and that I don't care.
Marley and Me is devastating.
Marley and Me will destroy you. I don't care. And that's the thing. Like, you know, like that. I guess you can't say because I don't go out and see every dog movie or every animal movie.
Right.
But I like a good one. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the thing is with this movie, It doesn't excite me, but what it gets me excited is the name, obviously.
Of course.
I told you before, I don't even really remember the first movie at all, other than the pasta scene. This is the night. What was the name of this?
Bella Notte.
Whatever.
Bella Noche?
Yeah, that song, and then the Siamese racist thing. That's really about all I took from the movie.
Which, okay, so real quick. Now, I will be the first to admit when I am wrong. And Chris, I was wrong.
Were you?
I was. See, I was like, I didn't see them putting the cats in the movie.
No, they
I
are.
couldn't be.
From this
I
last
could not
trailer,
have been
they
more
are
off.
in there.
And they're hairless, which means they don't have souls. I don't know if you know this or not, but hairless
Okay.
cats do not have souls.
Okay.
They're like gingers.
Okay, yeah. Of course.
No, dude. Honestly, hairless cats freak me out just a little bit.
Okay.
I'm not a huge fan of them.
I mean, they're
Their
off-putting.
faces are
They're
odd.
there's just something weird about it. I get it.
Oh, sure.
What's more weird is when you put an Asian person and as voicing it over and singing Siamese.
See, I don't think they're going to do that.
Of course not. Of course not, Bryce. Of
But
course
they
not.
do
But then
still have
again,
the
they
cats.
did put a black lady in with a white guy in like 1901.
I don't know. And see, you're not the first person to bring that up to me.
And again, it's not something that, like, I'm going to watch this movie and I'm not going to blink an eye as far as that goes, because it's, in the end, it is a movie. Somebody who does like history that looks at it and finds it way weird, especially when you got guards running around with those weird caps, you're seeing these motor cars and you're like, you're trying to sell me on the time period. It's a little weird. But other than that, the movie, let's put it this way, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
It will be watched.
Yeah, I'm probably going to watch that Tuesday night when everything drops and I get back from my meeting. So I'm probably going to watch that Tuesday night, and me and Jimmy will probably jump into this booth and go ahead and give you our thoughts on it. But Chris, The Mandalorian drops on Tuesday.
Yeah.
But then you were telling me that a second episode is dropping on Friday.
Yeah, that's what I believe I heard. I was listening to a podcast. They said that. Now, again,
Right.
don't quote me on this, people.
Sure.
Like, I don't want to give anybody the wrong info. But as of right now, what I'm aware of is that the first show drops Tuesday night, and then another one gets released Friday. So,
Well, I am signed up for it. I know that you're not because you're still waiting on Verizon to come through with their whole bargain for you.
right.
So,
Well, it's free, man.
I mean, that's a heck of a bargain
It's great.
if they give it to you.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't talk to you about this, obviously, before the show, which I probably should have. But how you and Raylan come over, watch The Mandalorian with me and Jamie on that Friday night. We'll watch the first 2 episodes. Girls can hang out. You and I come in here,
Oh, absolutely.
talk about that. Because I do still want to do an after show with you if you still want to do it.
Absolutely, with The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right, cool. You heard it here first, folks. Sometimes things just develop inside the podcast booth and they need to be heard.
Yes, they do.
All right. The last bit of entertainment news that we have to go over tonight is from Pixar. And it's the new trailer that they put out for this movie called Soul. Chris, this is my show, and I am going to go first.
Okay.
I really hated it. I really did not like this trailer whatsoever.
Would you say that the trailer was soulless?
Yeah, indeed I would, actually, yes. Very nice. Well played. I like I like that. No, the animation in it was awkward to me because everything in the movie was almost photorealistic, and they did the same thing.
And then the faces were just like, bam.
Clay.
Yeah.
They look like clay.
A little bit, yeah.
And they did the same thing with The Good Dinosaur, and that's the same type of vibe I'm getting from this movie, not just from the animation point of view, but from like the storytelling point of view. It feels like Good Dinosaur to me, and I don't know if you've seen Good Dinosaur.
No.
In my opinion, it's not a compliment. Like, like everybody poo-poos on Cars. Cars 1 is fine.
Yeah, Cars 1 is good.
Cars 2, it's not the best, but it's also not the Good Dinosaur.
Okay.
The Good Dinosaur, in my opinion, is far worse.
Okay.
That being said, what did you think of the trailer, Chris?
I'm the same with you. I don't know what I was looking at, but this is a very Pixar thing to do, right? They're Pixar, and I love the fact that they can just take something brand new, throw it up there, and be like, by the way, we're Pixar, and this is what we're doing right now. And I got no story beats other than the fact that me and you both speculated like the dude is dead. Like,
yeah,
that's his soul, hence the name of the movie.
And now he's dead.
And he's dead. Like that's kind of what we talked about. Like, we're like, okay, that this is what probably the movie's going to be about. Now, they haven't come out and said that, but
it worries me a little that it's going to end up, having this guy fall down the manhole, and then you're going to go on this whole adventure with his soul, and then the guy's just going to wake up, and it's going to be like a dream sequence.
But they did show like a decent amount of footage with him, like, normal, without him being like in that spirit form.
Right.
It's shocking that Disney's going for these dark death movies, man.
Well,
you got like,
That's Pixar.
And
the
they're
studios
under the same umbrella, Brice.
But the studios are different. It's like
Disney
saying Marvel. It's like saying
Disney
Marvel is Disney.
owns them.
They do.
Okay, they can do whatever they want to them. If you can do as much as you want to anything, you own them.
Sure, they own them.
So,
but they can go
in your
darker
terms,
because they're
me,
not
people,
Disney.
I'm dealing with Brice here. So, Pixar,
yes, it's a
has
distinction.
gone for these really dark movies as of late. Wouldn't you say? I mean, you have the Coco movie with dealing with death.
Sure,
Soul
probably
seems to be dealing with death. I mean,
and I know Onward is dealing with death, the death of a father.
You know what? Forget it. Because, I just realized, like, this is Disney, and I'm like, wait a minute. You got Bambi. You got...
Right, exactly.
You got everybody.
Every parent is dead.
Every other parent is dead.
Odnard and Aduna.
Yep. All the parents are dead. Tarzan's parents are dead.
They got it rough,
Mermaid's
man.
mom is dead. Okay, forget I said anything. Where's Belle's mom? She's dead. Beast's parents are dead.
Belle's mom got the plague.
She's dead.
Exactly. So, look...
All right, so this is nothing new. Forget what I said, everybody.
All right, look, my other complaint about the trailer is that they had this little joke between the Tina Fey little spirit or sprite or whatever it is, and the main guy's like, what are you doing? And she's like, probably this cute little cowboy dance. And she does it, and that's supposed to be like the big laugh of the trailer.
Yeah.
Man.
Didn't land at all. Like, at least not for us. Like, we were just kind of sitting there. Like, and that's the funny, because we both saw this for the first time together.
Yeah.
I don't think we laughed at once.
No. It was like getting hit in the face with a brick.
Yeah.
It was really, really not funny
now,
whatsoever.
Like,
in my
again,
opinion.
we're not the target audience, but, like, if this was a Disney...
I don't know. I
like,
think that we would be the target audience for this movie.
If you're... But that's the thing. If you're come from the standard that we get from Pixar... We know that they can do better. You know what I'm saying? And that, and to your point, yes, that is a little worrying. But this is a teaser, and we've had bad, like what we always hear. There have been good movies that have bad trailers, and vice versa.
Sure.
So this movie could be great.
Like I said, I just can't help but draw the comparison to The Good Dinosaur. Because check this out. The year The Good Dinosaur came out, so did Inside Out. Inside Out is right up there with my favorite Pixar movies. I can't say it's my favorite because there's just so many good Pixar movies that they've done. I can't say it's my favorite, but it's top 4, maybe top 5, maybe if I have to push something. Okay. That movie came out the same year as Good Dinosaur. From go, Inside Out looked fantastic to me. And from go, The Good Dinosaur looked bad. And it came to pass.
I also think it's more of a marketing thing, too. Dinosaur, to me, didn't impress me as much as with their marketing. And I think like Pixar maybe might have felt a little the ways through it, like, it's not going to be that great.
Maybe.
Like, I mean, that's what I got from the trailers. Like, just to your point, you know, it was like, here's Pixar. Like, we're hoping to sell you on the name, like, sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, like,
so it's weird to me because just these, you know, the history repeating itself, the drawing the lines from, you know, the year of Inside Out to this one. I liked Inside Out. I'm really looking forward to Onward. I think that looks great. Wasn't looking forward to Good Dinosaur. Not looking forward to Soul. They both had that strange, realistic animation to them.
I think we're gonna have to wait for. I think we're gonna have to wait for at least one more trailer to kind of flesh it out a little bit.
Oh, sure, and I'll be fair to the trailer, but
as far as this teaser,
it's got me worried.
Yeah, it didn't do a good job setting this movie up, at least for us, you know. But they still got. We know there's gonna be a million more trailers for this, and we'll be able to get the story beats. Hopefully, that is not their funniest thing of the movie.
I hope not.
So,
oh my God.
Here's hoping to better stuff going forward.
Which is crazy because it's Tina Fey. Tina Fey is hysterical.
That she is.
And so to suck all of the funny
I think,
out
once
of
again,
Tina
I think
Fey,
that was more something that like might appeal to kids. You know, like it was much more of like a physically funny thing to do, which kids, like when they see that for the first time, it's like that's what they remember, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter really what they're saying. It's more just like, hey, that person's, you know, she's doing a funny dance.
Sure.
So maybe that might have been their target audience, but Mike, yeah, I'm with you. Wasn't good.
Welcome aboard the Walt Disney World Express Monorail. On behalf of the cast of the Walt Disney World Resort, we'd like to welcome you to the Magic Kingdom.
All right, so in case you've forgotten, because you haven't been here for so long,
Right.
You and I typically talk about entertainment news, then we talk about Pork's news,
Yeah.
then we talk about Parks news, and then we talk about the resort.
Right.
We have nothing to talk about in terms of the resort this week.
Not surprisingly.
We have nothing to talk about in terms of
Disney's not trying to make more money with more resorts, you know?
Exactly. So no resort news and no park news. The only reason we have anything to talk about in the parks is because our Christopher Ruiz went to Galaxy's Edge. And man, how did you feel about it?
It was cool. It was really cool. They did such a good job at really immersing you in there, like immersing you into the story, the land. I love that shopping area, that shopping center.
That bazaar, isn't that cool?
I don't mean where they're holding all the cool stuff in there. I mean like there's just like that cool long that takes you to that restaurant at the end.
Yeah,
it's like a tunnel to the left when you go in.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like a market-looking place. It looks really cool. Like, so accurate. Like, you can film a movie there, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
easy.
If I was a kid, I would be losing my mind. Like, I'm a grown man and I was losing my mind. But, like, I could not believe the amount of detail that was in there. It was awesome. It was absolutely amazing. Needless to say, the stormtroopers walking around, that was not a bad touch. It is awesome. They did such a good job.
It's such a different land than literally anything else in Magic Kingdom. Or I'm sorry, not Magic Kingdom, in Disney World.
Right. And what I love is you got the main entrance when you come in Hollywood Studios. You know, you take it straight down, but then you have the other entrance that's through Toy Story.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot more because I love me some Toy Story. So you're walking around, you're immersed in a Toy Story land, and then it's just bam, right into Star Wars. And I love it because they give you that long tunnel, you know, like to really kind of, and that's what Disney does that's so well to me personally. Because then you got like Islands of Adventure, which we love.
Sure.
But the lands are right smack next to each other.
Yeah.
And built almost on top of each other where you don't have a chance to just breathe. Now, I know like some lands are a little betterly spaced, but like for instance, like Marvel Land into like the Popeye, you know, like it's like right there.
But at least that kind of makes sense. I mean, you have your comic books right into the comic strips.
But one thing I appreciate, and it's again, this is more just like nitpick through theme parks, but like,
sure,
because I mean, we love it. Either way, I don't care. But what I love is that Disney creates this long walk, kind of like what they do with Pandora, and it's just a build-up. It's taking you away from where you just came and doing a fantastic job because they have speakers in there of just making you go, okay, yeah, you left Toy Story, and we're just giving you a second to settle in. Something that you don't have to do, but that Disney takes the extra mile that I really like.
I'm gonna tell you this, and I was talking to Jesse, and I told him this as well. That land is so immersive and just so well done.
Yeah.
I am on Earth. I know that I am on Earth.
Right.
There's no question to me, to my mind, that I am on Earth. I am standing next to one of the starships, and I hear the TIE fighter scream go by. Dude, looked up. I'm an idiot. But it was so immersive to me.
So
I was
well
like,
done.
oh my goodness. Of course there's going to be TIE fighters flying overhead. And immediately when I did it, I was like, oh, that was stupid. And I felt dumb. But then I was like, man, they did such a good job.
But you know how many other people are probably doing the same thing too, had they be in that moment. And that's what I love. Like, I mean, just the extra mile with the stormtroopers walking around. Like,
I think that's such a good touch.
It is. And they're doing their patrol, but they won't. They'll come up next to you, and they will stop you.
They'll mess with you,
and they'll screw around with you. And another thing, you got Rey who's walking around. You have a couple of members of the Resistance,
like Chewie.
And if you arrive at certain times, they play off with the stormtroopers, and they play off with Kylo Ren. And if you are a kid, like you never thought that you would just have fun just watching this kind of play in the land, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And it's done so well. And dude, I was trying to find something to nitpick, but like I couldn't. Like, other than, hey, that's a long line, nothing wrong with the land,
Sure. Now, you're talking about a long line. Were you able to get on Smuggler's Run?
No. We got there on our last. We got there on Sunday. We were leaving, or no, it was Monday that we were coming back home. We waited a little too long for Slinky.
Oh yeah.
And by the time we got to Star Wars, we were hungry. But I argue I did something else that was just as good. We ate at the restaurant there. And I was able to get, I don't know which one.
Ronto Roasters, where they got the droid spin.
Yeah, Saturday we ate I got the Ronto wrap.
Okay.
Which was absolutely delicious.
Was it good?
Yeah. Oh, it was really good. Ray Lynn, you know how picky she can be with her food.
Oh, yeah.
Loved it.
Really?
She liked it a lot.
Just for a clarification, this is a girl who says, I don't like pizza, which is a ridiculous statement. Now, moving on. So she enjoyed it then.
Right.
Okay.
And then we ate at the other place, the other restaurant.
I think that's Launch Bay 7?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't catch the names. It's not like they have these huge signs up.
Right.
Which is, thank God, because it's really cool that you can just walk into places not really knowing what you're really walking into, which is really cool.
And that's all part of the immersion of it. Like, you see this big droid spinning a huge hunk of meat.
Yeah.
If you saw that just anywhere, even if you couldn't speak the language, you go, that's a place I can get food.
Right. And what I love is that we went to this place. I got the short ribs, and they did it tasted so good. Like, it wasn't just food they threw out there to just get you to buy. It wasn't just like your average hamburger or whatever sort of thing, but it was good stuff. And Raylan got the chicken, and what I appreciate is that they cut them in the shapes of like Luke Skywalker's little, like in the Empire Strikes Back when he lands in Dagobah, he has like a little lunchbox and he opens it. And he would pull out this food, and what looked like chicken fingers was in his hand, or like a mozzarella stick. And as a little kid, I would watch that scene and be like, I want to eat that. I'm not sure what it is, but he likes it. And in the restaurant, they cut the chicken in a way to match what he ate in the movie.
Oh, really? That's really cool.
Yeah.
See, when I went, I was able to get on Smuggler's Run 3 times. But I wasn't able to go into any of the restaurants and eat because I went over to the Epcot Food and Wine Festival.
Right.
So, give and take a little bit here and there.
The food will always be there. The ride will always be there.
Right.
We'll have a chance to check it out. But for you guys who want to know how the food was, listen, the Ronto wrap was awesome. I got the short ribs. My wife got the chicken. All of the food was good, and it was worth the price.
Like if you were going to compare it, let's say, to the Harbor Inn in Magic Kingdom,
okay,
which one was better? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but they are counter service restaurants there, correct?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so just like the Harbor Inn in Magic Kingdom, the one that's right across the street from the Haunted Mansion and the Tangled bathrooms, that, in my opinion, is one of the best counter service restaurants you can go to in Magic Kingdom.
I would say similar experience in that you go up to your your person, they say, what do you want?
Sure.
That's it. You go pick up your food.
But I'm talking about quality-wise.
Quality-wise, I would say either on par or if not, a smidge bit more. My ribs were so well done, and one of Micah's friends who got the ribs said that it was delicious too. Like, he was saying how great it was.
Well, then there you go.
Yeah.
You can't argue that.
I also gave some to Raylan. Raylan liked the ribs. And what's cool is, like, that they're ribs, but they do a nice little cool presentation that it kind of gives you like that, like it's so glazed in barbecue sauce. Like it was phenomenal. It was really good.
Like maybe it's not ribs.
Yeah, and they just do a nice little job of dressing it up where it makes it look just a little bit different. When you look at Pandora, it's like you know what you're eating, but they go that extra mile and making you feel immersed in the land while eating the food.
Like the cheeseburger steam buns?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So, Chris, what are your overall thoughts of Galaxy's Edge?
It's amazing. It's worth it. You asked whether or not you hyped it up, and it was like, could Disney meet that expectations? And they did.
Yeah.
They did. And if not, maybe exceeded it a little bit, because if you're just a diehard Star Wars fan, you're hearing one, and then you're also talking to somebody who is really not you, and we both leave going, that was great, that is a good sign.
Exactly. The whole thing is just a spectacle, and I cannot wait for December 5th for the Rise of the Resistance ride to open.
Right.
Like, once you have this whole land up and operating, it's gonna be phenomenal.
Yeah, it is gonna be great. And what I love too is like from getting your own lightsabers to droids. Like, they have something for everybody. Are you the fan of the Resistance and the First Order in the new movies, or you got your old Empire Rebel lovers? You got people who are into the Sith. You got that. You got your light side. And then if you're just a weirdo who loves droids, you can get your droid and roll it around all over the place, which is really cool because they got a life-size R2-D2 unit in that store.
They do, and it's
And
cool.
he actually moves. Did you know he moves? Like, I didn't know he moves. Like, he rolls.
Yeah.
Like, I was looking at him, and I'm like, that's cool because his head is turning. He's making the noises. And I turned around, and he started coming after me. And I was like, oh, you can do that. Like, no wonder you're worth $25,000. Like, it's crazy. But listen, if you got to see it, is basically what I'm getting at. And I haven't even rode the ride yet.
Exactly. Now, I mean, where does this land rank for you in terms of like the Walt Disney World lands that they have? Because they have Frontierland, Tomorrowland, you have, the World Showcase over at Epcot. You have a number of different lands.
I'd say it's neck and neck with Avatar, if not more. Because
see, I liked it more than Avatar.
But see, for me, what I like about Avatar is the fact that, like, listen, they're both, as far as immersion goes, they both make me feel like I'm in the world.
Right.
So really, it's really hard to nitpick.
Sure.
I feel like there's a lot more to do in Star Wars. There's so much more to do, which is what I'm kind of disappointed with Pandora a little bit. Like, the only complaint is I wish there was as much to do in Pandora as in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as looks-wise and the immersion, like, they both nail it, in my opinion.
Dude, totally agree.
But I guess if you had to go which one was the hardest, it definitely had to be Star Wars. Like Star Wars probably had to be the harder one to pull off, you know?
Well, just
Pandora
because
is
you have
just
so
like,
much more.
rocks and trees and leaves, and it's like,
Well, I'm not taking anything away from Pandora by any stretch of
but
the
we
imagination.
live in Florida, and it's like, it's as cool as they made it seem outlandish. I mean, for what you have to do with Star Wars, they made like temples and like,
Right.
and they made it look old, and they made everything look like you were like on a set of a movie.
They made the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, and you got X-wings there, like, oh.
Yeah, you had the starfighters and all that kind of stuff. Oh, man.
Yeah.
And even aside from all of that, you know what really put Galaxy's Edge over the top for me? It was Rey. It was the Stormtroopers, the Chewie, all of that. Man, the interactions that you have
not
are
like
great.
other Disney like characters, like
No,
that
they're
you see
not.
walking around that you're just like, okay, they're there for a photo, or they're there to like they'll entertain you, like those like the soldiers from Toy Story. They'll do their little drum thing, like.
See, I feel like that was Disney really, dipping their toe in the water to see if it would work here.
Yeah.
And I really, God, I hope
And it
they start to
works.
implement it in
Yes.
other parks.
Kind of like that little mech that they have in Pandora.
That is cool. I do like that.
And he's talking about it as if like you're on Pandora. It's just that little bit that takes, it's that extra mile. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, dude, for me, this is a huge win for Disney. I know where I'm going to be like 90% of the time, and not get bored, because I know there's a lot more stuff. And it's going to be really cool to see how Disney over the next couple of years just change it up a little bit. See if they're going to freshen things up a bit.
Sure.
The cool thing is that Star Wars is like endless.
It's ever expanding.
Yeah, so you can always do different stuff, so I'm just looking forward to what they have coming up too,
Over under 45%. After it comes out, we're going to get a
You said
Mandalorian
I'm
character
kick you in the
walking
face.
around.
Oh my God.
Right?
Oh my Lord.
Oh my God, it would be so great.
Oh, Brice.
You're flipping out right now, aren't you?
A little bit. Just a little bit. I mean, like, he's probably going to get so many people coming up to him. I mean, I'm just going to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. People have problems with Rey. People have problems with Kylo. No one's going to have problems with the Mandalorian.
He'll kill you.
He just looks cool.
He
you know?
does.
He just looks
So
awesome.
great.
And now, our feature presentation.
All right. Because we are not going over any real new news, we've decided to go way, way back to June 21st of 1974, of 2019. What is going on with me tonight?
1974. I'm like, man, you're an old soul, Brice.
It was what was in my heart. That's what I wanted to say. We're going back there, and you and I are finally, Chris, going to talk about Toy Story 4 because you just saw it.
I did.
What did you think of it?
Huh? No.
Really?
Listen.
You didn't like the movie?
Okay, listen. Just let me explain a little bit. Did I like the movie? Yes, I did
Okay.
like the movie. Do I feel like this movie had to have been made? Absolutely not.
Well, that's not the question.
But hang
the
on,
question
but
is,
hang
do
on.
you like the
but
movie?
that also plays in part to the movie itself. Like, okay, let's go back a little bit. Me and you had that famous episode where you had Tom Hanks and Tim Allen that came out and said, "Hey, we both read the script, and like we were." And apparently, like in that quote, they were even saying like, we don't know like why they would want to come back for a fourth one. And we read the script, and there was tears and all this sort of stuff. And me and you were just like, how do you top that third movie?
Right.
Because it just seemed like you can't.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. So they already did the damage by hyping it up to that extreme. And
Yeah.
Brice, I bought into it.
Did
And
you?
I brought into it hard. Yeah, because every Toy Story movie, the bar, to me, as far as quality and everything and story, just has gone up and up and up. And then this movie came out, and while I liked the movie, it was entertaining, the characters were fun, I just did not, it just did not reach that level that I was just hyped on. And I know everybody's going to say, like, hey, you hyped yourself out. Yes, but, like, there were certain things I didn't really like either. Like, I didn't care too much for the story,
Really?
like, itself. Yeah, like, Forky, as a character, I liked Forky. I thought Forky was kind of funny.
Hold on really quick. Before you go any further, I do want to go ahead and mention that because the movie is out on Blu-ray, we are going to be talking in full spoilery glory about this movie. So, I mean, I feel like that kind of goes without saying, but I just wanted to mention it anyway.
Really quick, though. So I said how I felt. How do you feel? Because you never had a really chance to say anything about it.
Yeah, I didn't. I was in that awkward phase where I was like, maybe I cancel the show, maybe I don't. Who knows what I'm going to do? And then it just kind of went away, and I missed it. It was really what happened. I really enjoyed the movie for what it was. Was it probably wrong for them to come out and be like, oh, we were crying? Maybe, because like you said, it will overhype somebody really quickly. And this franchise, I mean, keep in mind, Rotten Tomato score is
like
97.
Perfect. Yeah.
It's 97. So you have Toy Story 1, which had a 99.
Yeah.
No, had a 98, I believe.
It's definitely up the highest. Like, it's impossible to, like, beat their score. It's like that one critic had a bad day.
All four of them, man, are above 95%, which is incredible.
Yeah.
So, for me, I liked it for what it was. Did it have to be made? No, I thought Toy Story 3 wrapped everything up with such a perfect bow.
Right.
That I'm like, man, you know what? Don't touch it. If you want to keep using these characters, which I get, you make the shorts, right? Make the toy stories.
Yeah.
You don't have to make an entire movie. But this story, if this is the story they wanted to tell, this story needed to be done in a movie. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I would have been upset if they had Woody go through this character arc over, say, 10 shorts instead of a movie.
Right.
That would have been aggravating to me. That being said, the movie, like I said, talking about Star Wars, when friendships end, it gets to me. And that got to me. So when Woody is saying goodbye to Buzz and Jesse and Bullseye and everybody else, I'm like,
see, and
that's sad.
The thing. For me, that moment did not work.
No.
For me, I didn't get that emotion, partly because I think by the time that came, you already knew it was going to happen.
Sure.
Whereas in the third movie, the way that climaxes, with the death, the impending doom, and
that's what got you. Let me just ask you real quick.
Yeah.
The furnace is what got you.
No, I mean, like, the whole movie did. I'm just saying when it got down to the matter of, like, a life and death situation for toys, obviously.
Sure.
Like, it's very hard to beat that moment. You know what I'm saying? And the thing with Woody saying goodbye to everybody, I'm not heartless. I'm not sitting there like, this is garbage. No. But that feeling, it wasn't really a surprise, and it wasn't like a gut-wrenching moment, just because the whole movie was just building to that moment of Woody just being like, yeah, all right, I'm going to be on my own. I'm going to be like a rogue toy. Plus, I'm not thrilled about Buzz's and his relationship in this movie.
Well, it's almost non-existent because they're not together.
Right.
But it's so funny that you say that, because what you're saying about Toy Story 4 is exactly what I felt about Toy Story 3 about the furnace.
Okay.
Watching that movie, I'm like, there is zero chance that these toys are falling into that fire.
Right.
So for me, that scene was just a waste of time.
I didn't think that they were going to die.
However, when Andy gives his toys to Bonnie,
Yeah.
I was like, that might have been the best scene Pixar's ever made.
Yeah.
Period.
Right.
And so that's I do like Toy Story 3 more than I like Toy Story 4. Like if I was going to rate them, like in terms of ones I want to watch, it would be Toy Story 1, 3, 4, and then 2. Like I like 2 enough. That movie just never clicked for me for whatever reason.
Really?
Yeah. So I liked Toy Story 3 a lot. Clearly, it's my number 2. But I like Toy Story 4 a lot as well. I like all of the characters. It's so frustrating because you do have this whole cast of fantastic characters. You know, you have Rex, you have Ham, you have Jesse, you have Bullseye, you have all these characters that you have grown up and you care about them, you love them. Now on top of those characters, you have all of the toys that Bonnie already owned.
Yeah.
You have Mr. Pricklepants, who's actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
You have Buttercup, who I swear he steals the entire movie for me. Buttercup, I think, is hysterical. Every time he wants to make the dad go to jail, it just makes me laugh.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to jail.
It's great.
And so I like all those dynamics, right? But then we're spending the majority of the time with Ducky and Bunny, who I like. I like Ducky and Bunny.
They weren't bad. I will say they do have, like, in my mind, the funniest moments of the film.
Oh, by far.
Like,
Plush Rush?
the Plush Rush. And then me and you were sitting there, like, I remember I was talking about it, and we're like, we hope that that's not all that there is, because, like, I don't want that to be like, we just saw everything. Oh, my God.
There's
like,
so much to it. It's so
dude,
good.
the fact that they kept waiting, the last one, where it's like she opens the fridge and he's like, wait, what? And he's like, no. Hang on. And, oh my God. Like,
and then they slowly rise up from behind the bed.
Oh my gosh. Or like at the end of the movie and they like, was it the end where they thought that like, where they grew huge and started shooting lasers out of their eyes? That was
during the credits.
Like, my gosh. Like, they definitely did have some of the funniest, if not the funniest, like, lines of the movie.
See, Ducky and Bunny were great. And then you also have Bo Peep. Now, Bo Peep was such a different character than what you had from Toy Story 1.
Very different.
That it's essentially a new character.
Not bad, but very different.
Right. Even though it's supposed to be the bridge that you're like, oh, okay, I understand why Woody's leaving. It's such a different character.
And I think that that's the thing. We're used to the toys, the original cast, being around each other. And like that heart being there. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And they focus a lot on the, Woody, and then it'll flash to the toys in the room. And then, like in the third movie, they're around each other quite a bit. So you're spending lots of time with these toys, the interaction with each other. This movie, they introduced a lot of new stuff, new villain. Like, you got the henchmen to those villains, which were terrifying. Freaked Raylan out.
Did they really?
Oh my gosh.
Really
She's like,
good.
I don't like this movie. Like, just downright terrified at her. But, like, just there was a lot. And like you said, Buttercup was hilarious. Like, there's lots of good stuff they threw in there that were funny. But I think that, to me, was missing, was like the heart of the movie. Entertaining movie, funny. But just the heart that the other three, to me, had, didn't have it as much as the original three.
Well, let's compare it to Toy Story 3 again. What is the most forgettable part of Toy Story 3? It's when Woody is in the room with Bonnie with just the other toys, where Buzz and Jesse and Bullseye and all the rest of them are back at Sunnyside. So now they're like, hey, let's split you guys up again. And you're like, come on.
Yeah.
Keep them together. We want to see these characters together.
And a very similar villain, like, I know they don't have the same story, but like the mopey villain of like, I don't get played with, or I was abandoned. And in this case, like, I want to be like taken in by somebody. It's like, okay, like, I see what you're trying to freshen it up. Like, she never had an owner, but it's still the same thing. You're an evil toy because you just are. Like, they had to do something a little bit different. Whereas I argue with the first one and number 2, I really enjoy the villains being the humans because they have massive control over these toys. You know, like Sid,
I agree.
the ultimate villain. Like, I mean, like, seriously, that kid was literally killing toys.
Well, even
know?
Stinky Pete in the second one, I thought that was great.
Yeah.
That was my favorite
But
part
arguably,
of
you
number
could still
two.
make the same thing that the human was also equally as much the villain.
Oh, absolutely.
You know? And then when you get to the third movie, it's just like you get the teddy bear, which was great. He was a great villain. But then you get to this movie and it's like, I don't know, man. It just didn't click with me.
No, I hear you. I completely understand. I didn't like Gabby Gabby as a villain either. She just, I don't know, she just fell flat. She felt very one-dimensional.
Right.
I hated the resolution
me too.
between her and Woody. I did not enjoy that one bit. The other thing that I didn't love, which I was kind of expecting to, was Duke Kaboom. Like, I thought he was really just, he was okay. He was fine.
And even kind of annoying at times.
Yep.
Like, I thought I would have loved him. It's Keanu Reeves. And to Keanu Reeves' credit, I mean, he's doing what he's being told to do. But
that's true.
What he's being told to do is like I didn't find it really funny. And I didn't like the character too much. You know what I'm saying?
No, I 100% agree.
You know? So there's...
And it's weird because you have a character who is clearly put in there meant to be comic relief, right? And in my estimation and in yours, he fell flat.
Right.
But then you have a scene like the RV trying to get back to the merry-go-round.
Yeah. Very well done.
I was crying, dude. I had tears in my eyes.
It was
I
good.
could not catch my breath.
Very good.
It was hysterical. I freaking I love that. I think about that scene to this day. Like, I think about it over and over again.
Right.
It's really funny. So that frustrates me a little bit because I'm like, man, I really wanted this to be funny throughout, and it really was, except for this one character. But it was glaring because that character's whole purpose was to be funny.
Right.
I don't know, but I just didn't really care for him.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't think we're pooing on this movie. The movie is definitely watchable. It's fun to watch.
Oh, absolutely.
There's lots of good stuff to enjoy in it. But like, as far like for me, if you're comparing it to the rest of the trilogy, it's like that redheaded stepchild, in my opinion.
Really?
Really?
That bad?
Really? Yeah. It just, to me, it was just a story that, number one, should not have been told. And number two, it's missing what the other three had that I think, which is a heart. That's what it misses for me, you know?
Right.
It had comedy in spades.
Sure.
You know?
It was probably the funniest Toy Story movie.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like, it had me laughing. But I'm saying, as far as those moments that you remember 3, 2, and 1 for, like, I again, you said you didn't like number 2, but like when Jessie in number 2, like with her, when Somebody Loved Me, that song
was so sad.
There are lots of just emotional moments that make you connect to these characters. And I feel like, although at the end of this movie, there was a big thing that happened, you know, Woody breaks off with everybody. It just didn't have that heart, you know?
Because of that ending, I don't want there to be a number 5.
Oh, I hope not.
I really don't. And I don't
really
even mean
hope
that
not.
like, oh man, number 4 ended it so perfectly, or how I said number 3 ended it so perfectly, don't do a number 4. I don't want there to be a movie of the toys with Bonnie where Woody's not a part of it. But then if Woody is a part of it, the way it ended up in Toy Story 4, it would feel very forced, and it probably, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't feel...
Well, this movie kind of did feel forced, and I think that's the problem that I have with it, is that it just, it feels like Pixar was thinking a little too hard about this, and they were just like, you know what, we got one more story to tell, and it was, nah, man, like this, you went out on this is like the perfect example of going out on a high note and coming back, and it's like, yeah, it was good. But like, you should have stayed. You should have left while you're on top, you know?
Well, I mean, they created one of the best trilogies of all time.
By far, yeah.
Are you really going to top that with a 4th one? Maybe, but then you've done it, and it worked. Like, it's really difficult for me to talk about this movie and say, oh, the movie didn't work, because obviously it did.
Yeah.
The movie worked well enough. It's just I wanted more.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't given more.
I think that's what we're at. Is like you wanted more from these characters. You wanted to dive. I wanted to see, like, a lot of these movies we know are about Woody and like what he's going through and from his point of view. But
they've all been about Woody.
But what's good about the third one is that it kind of shared it a little bit. Everybody kind of had like their own little moments. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you felt for everybody. You know, with this story, once again, with Woody, it's like, Woody, man, just like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I'm just disappointed that I wasn't loving it as much as I thought I would.
Yeah. And see, one thing that they did that I was really appreciative of, and I was kind of concerned once the movie opened, because the movie opens with like a flashback to where Bo Peep is still in his sister's room, right?
Yeah.
And they're going out there. They have to rescue RC. Slink Dog is helping.
Good scene, by the way.
Oh, it was a great scene.
You were feeling for RC. I was like, wait a minute, does he die? Like, I was just sitting there with Raylan. I'm like, wait a minute, was he alive in the third movie? It had me questioning for a second. I'm like, what time period are we in?
Right.
You know, just like for a quick second, I'm just like, was he in the last movie? Like, I had to sit there and think about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Very good scene.
It was. It set it up to where if Bo Peep then later on in the movie was very bitter and a villain, I could have understood that.
I would have liked it.
Would you?
Yeah.
See, I didn't want that to happen.
No, I would have liked it. I would have, listen. Okay, maybe if me and you're sitting in a room writing this storyboard out, yes, I would agree with your point. The villain we got, I would take Bonnie. Sorry. The villain that we got, I would take Bonnie turning over the villain that we got.
Bo Peep turning.
Right. Bo Peep turning. I would have taken that over what was given. You know what I'm saying?
I guess, but I feel like if we weren't given Gabby Gabby and we're living in an alternate universe where Gabby Gabby wasn't the villain.
But that's what I'm saying. If me and you were in a room and they said, Chris, Brice, create your villain, what is the antagonist of the movie? No, it wouldn't be Bo Peep turning. Right. I'm saying, like, if I had to choose between Bo Peep and this villain, it would be Bo Peep.
Yeah.
Like that turn, you know? I would have felt something, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
I can see that. I feel like that would have been as derivative of Lotso as Gabby Gabby was, though. Because Bo Peep would have gone from having an owner to not, and so on and so forth.
Right. But like, if we're all comparing them, it's still very similar. Like, Bitter Toys,
sure,
the villain, you know?
So, Chris, what was your favorite shot of the movie?
I mean, honestly, Ducky and what's his name? The Rabbit and Ducky stole the movie for me. So, like, the scene where they're shooting the lasers, or either that or them attacking the woman in the face. Like, that was it. Just because it was so unexpected and well done, you know?
It was Bunny and Ducky were mine as well, but it was when they rise up from behind the bed.
I was just about to say that. Like, it probably would just be that still.
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, they did such a good job with those guys, and it was hilarious.
All right, man. Go ahead and rate it up. 1 to 5. What do you got?
See, I'm going to give it a solid 3.
3?
3. You know what? I'll give it a 3.5 because it was funny. It's entertaining. I will watch it again.
Right.
And maybe I'll have a different opinion as this maybe grows on me. Maybe I'll be able to come back to it. 3.5 because it's a solid movie. It's just definitely a step down for me than the original 3.
That's fair. I'll put this at a 4. I really enjoyed this movie. It's a really odd movie for you and I to talk about because we really did spend the majority of the movie talking about what we didn't like about the movie.
Yeah.
But the things that worked so well. It was obvious, you know?
Yeah.
Like you were saying, Forky. I didn't expect to like Forky. And at the very beginning, I felt like they went to that whole, hey, I'm trash joke 5 too many times.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, he can stop that now. And then once he finally does and starts relaxing into his role, I'm like, I really like you. I think you're a lot of fun.
It's like Domino's Pizza, man. It's like you can nick and pick at it, but you're still going to eat it. And at the end of the day, you're still going to be like, this is awesome.
Exactly.
You know, like it's still good. And that's the thing with this movie. Like there are like comparing, and that's the thing. It's unfortunate because it has to be compared to 3 other great movies before it.
Exactly.
So I think that's what we were doing. We're spending time comparing it to the other 3. And
it is the Godfather of animated movies.
Right. And on its own, it's a
fine movie.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we're saying here.
Absolutely. And that's the end. For this week, anyway. Want to say thank you all for listening. I really appreciate it. My name is Brice, and I'm happy to be back in the booth again with my buddy, Chris.
Yeah, man, it's fun. Hopefully we can do this again next week.
Yeah, I would like that very much.
Mandalorian, maybe have a couple of beers.
Yeah, buddy. I think it needs to happen.
Yeah, it definitely does.
All right. Guys, I really appreciate your patience. I know that I said we were going to be talking about Disney Sea, and I know that we went into it just like really, really quick when we're talking about the Jungle Cruise again. Something is coming. I have something in the works. I was working on it today, actually, before we got in this booth, and it just, like I said, it spiraled out of control.
It did. If you guys know Bryce's mind, he could fall down a rabbit hole really easy.
But it'll be so fun when it's done. So, guys, I appreciate your patience. That being said, you can find me on YouTube, iTunes, Twitter, Tumblr, SoundCloud. You can find me at Disney Nocturnal on Twitter, and on Instagram, you can find me at the Nocturnal Disney Podcast, all separated by underscores. If you would like to write an email to me, you can do that. You can find me at Bryce@thenocturnaldisneypodcast.com. What about you, Chris? Where can they find you?
Just Instagram, Chris Ruiz 1991. So you can talk about Disney there if you want.
Nice.
It's not as fun a Disney page as yours, Bryce.
Well, you know, what page is?
It's true.
Guys, thank you again for listening. Without people listening to this show, we would have stopped doing this a long time ago. So
it's pretty awesome to have some listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for keeping our friendship intact. Otherwise, it'd be in the gutter.
Yeah, it's in flames.
Guys, thank you so much. And until next time.
Thank you for listening to Nocturnal Disney Podcast. Bye-bye.